The Sandside Chase was a Scottish clan battle which took place in 1437 in Caithness, about 6 miles west of Thurso. The Clan Mackay launched a raid from Strathnaver towards Thurso until they encountered resistance from the locals at Dounreay. The Mackays then pulled back to Sandside, where they were joined by reinforcements and slaughtered the defenders on the coast north of Reay. Background: Dounreay.The Mackays, son of Dounreay.The Mackays, chief of Clan Mackay, had been imprisoned in the Base Rock by King James I of Scotland in 1427 for his part in the Battle of Harpsdale, which took place in 1426. Dounreay.The Mackays was released from the Base Rock in 1436 and the following year raided Caithness in a repeat of the Battle of Harpsdale 11 years before. Battle: the Mackays met the Caithnessmen at Dounreay and pushed them to the Force water before Caithness reinforcements made them retreat to Sandside. There they were joined by the Mackay forces that had been posted on Drumhollistan to protect the rear. Ian Aberarch manoeuvred his opponents into a loop of the bay below Sandside House, and slaughtered them around the ancient fort of Croxtanger. The survivors were chased back to Dounreay. A row of some 60 stones still standing at grid reference ND 07660 in 1915 were said to mark the graves of some of those killed in the battle, but they had disappeared by 1964. Accounts of the battle. Sir Robert Gordon wrote an account of the Battle of Reay in his book A Genealogical History of the Earldom of Sutherland. Dounreay.The Mackays, immediately after his release out of the base, the year 1437, entered into Caithness and spoiled the country. He skirmished with some of the people of the country at a place called Sandside, where he overthrew them, with slaughter on either side. This conflict was called that is, the flight or chase at Sandside, after which Dounreay died, leaving 2 sons, Angus and John Roy. Of this John Roy, the Slatin Roy descended. Conflicts of the Clans. An account of the battle was written in the book Conflicts of the Clans, published by the Fowls Press in 1764, written from a manuscript from the time of King James VI of Scotland. The year of God 1437, Dounreay.The Mackays, after his release out of the base, entered Caithness with all hostility, and spoiled all that country. He skirmished with some of the inhabitants of that province at a place called Sandside, where he overthrew them with slaughter on either side. This conflict was called Reay, that is, the chase at Sandside. Shortly thereafter Dounreay died. Robert Mackay. A traditional account of the battle written by Robert Mackay in his book The History of the House and Clan of the Name Mackay, published in 1829. The tradition regarding this invasion is to the following effect. The people of Caithness had committed some depredations on the east parts of the Reay country, in return for which, he and his brother Johnlp with the men, marched into Caithness, and took a great spoil with them. The better to provide against an assault, they placed a reserve about the border beyond Drumhollistan, to be ready to assist, if necessary. Neil and John were overtaken by a great company of Caithnessmen at Dounreay, when a fierce conflict ensued, but at length the latter fled, and were pursued with slaughter about 4 miles to the water of Force, where Neil and John saw a fresh company marching with speed down the hill of Force to assist the flying countrymen. The Mackays then retired back as far as Sandside, before their opponents got up with them, and by that time they were joined by the reserve. A most desperate engagement followed, which terminated in the defeat and flight of the Caithness men, who were pursued with considerable slaughter as far as Dounreay, about 3 miles. It is to this day called Leghorn, said I.e. the Sandside Chase.